Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm bringing back a pop-up shadow box tutorial that I had originally made 6 years ago, and I love this card fold and thought I would make another one for those of you that missed the first one. So let's get started. For this card fold, you are going to need 2 pieces of either cardstock or scrapbook paper or one of each. And the size needs to be 5.5 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And after you watch this, you'll decide whether you want one, the other, or both. And if your scrapbook paper is too flimsy and you need to layer it, no worries, because after I show you how to do this, I'm going to show you how to do it layering. So the next step is scoring, and you need to score this at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and then at 4.5 inches and 5 inches. Now, you could have also done this scoring it and then turning it around and scoring it, because it is the same at both ends. So I'll show you with this one. I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and then instead of scoring it at the other end, I'm just turning it back around and scoring it at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then you're going to fold like so. So a mountain fold and then a valley fold. And you'll do that on all of the score lines. They're all going to be folded the exact same. So even if you're using the pattern paper, or you know which one is the front and which one is the back, they are all folded exactly the same. And if you end up folding them the wrong direction, you'll know that when you go to put it together, and no problem, just flip them around. So this is how they're going to go together, which is why the folds are that way, and it will create the shadow box but still allow the card to lay flat until it's opened. Okay, now let's do some die cutting. So we are going to be die cutting the aperture in the front of the card, and it doesn't matter whether you use a circle, an oval, square, rectangle, heart. It doesn't matter. The important thing is you don't want it to get too close to the sides. So I'm going to be using this, and you can see that it leaves a little space on the sides. If it goes all the way to the edges, it's not going to work right. So let me move this one aside, and all you need to do is line this up in the center. And I say in the center, but in reality, if you wanted it up higher or down lower because you wanted to put something underneath it, you can do that too. So it really doesn't matter. And actually, now that I'm looking at that, that might be kind of cool having it up there. You know? I think that's what I'm going to do. See what happens? You play around with things and you go, ooh, I like this better than that. So I am going to do this off camera. And if you want to know why, it's my hand makes this a little bit awkward right now. But I'll be right back. Okay? And you know what? I would save this pretty piece to use for something else, because it's really pretty. And here it is with the aperture cut out, and it is going to hook to the bottom like that, and there is your shadow box. But before we hook it together, I want to talk to you about a couple more things. Before you put this together, you first need to think about what are you putting on the inside. Is it going to be something that can be put in there after it's put together? Does it have to be put in there before it's put together? Will you be stamping a sentiment or an image directly on that back piece? Or are you going to need a separate piece, which would be 3.5 inches by 4 1/4, that you can either slide in there and glue down afterwards, or that you can glue in there beforehand, that would have your sentiment or your image on it? Are you going to be using die cuts or cutouts from a paper pad? There are so many options, and you need to decide what's going to work best for you. So I've shown you the basic here, but now comes that bigger decision on what are you going to do on the inside. For mine, I decided to use this really pretty paper that came out of the same paper pack as this, and it's an old paper pack from I don't even know when, but I just thought that it was really pretty and would work well, and so I am going to put that in before I put it all together. So let me get some glue on here, and we'll just slide that right in, and then we're going to put this together. Should have had my craft mat down here. I just made a mess. Okay, so let me get that slid into place like so. Make sure that everything is folding together. Oh, looks like I cut that a little bit big. Give me a second here. Luckily, my beacon allowed me to pull that out and just trim that little extra off. So when you're putting this together, you probably need to cut this just a little bit less than 3.5, like just a hair. So now that I've got that done, this is ready to put together, and I'm going to use double-sided tape and my 3-in-1. So this is 1/2-inch double-sided tape, and these are 1/2-inch strips, so it should work. And what you're going to want to do is get it really close to the fold, but not over the fold. So get that on there and do the same thing on the other side. This is really, really, really sticky double-sided tape, and I wish I remembered what brand it was because I would like to get it again. It is like, I mean, super, super strong. Okay, so with that on there, let me tear off that little extra piece. I'm telling you, I got to find out what that was because I really like that tape. Okay, so got that on there, and I want that to be the top. For you, that's the bottom because I'm doing this upside down. I'm over here. So I want to make sure that I have everything in the right place. And we'll remove that. And the reason I like to use both double-sided tape and my beacon is for 2 reasons. One, the beacon will give me some wiggle room. And I'm just putting some drops. There's no need to cover up the double-sided tape because that would be kind of a waste. I see people do that. They'll put on double-sided tape or something, and then they literally cover it all up with the glue, which kind of defeats the purpose. So anyways, I like the wiggle room, and I also like that I believe that beacon holds better than the double-sided tape. So let me make sure I've got all this going the right direction. And I'm going to put that on there. Come on. It would be easier to just flatten this out. So why am I not doing that? I don't know. But just be patient with me. Because yes, it would be easy if this was just all flattened out. And then, you know, like this, push it all down flat, and then those 2 pieces will go together. So there you go. That way works too. Make sure that everything lays flat. If there's a little extra of the back piece, you can just run that right through your paper trimmer, and I will do that. But there we go. Now it's ready for me to add my embellishments, which are going to be these right here. And I was going to tell you, the cute little butterfly there, where did I put that? Don't go away. It's right here. It is. So what I did was I cut some butterflies out of, where did I put it? Don't you love it? I'm all over the place here, not even ready. But these are just some butterflies that were in that paper pad, and I just cut them out. And then I just used some Crystal Nouveau drops, and I believe this is called Dewdrop, but it dries clear. And on one of them, I used the Glitter Nouveau drops. And it's just a great way to create your own little embellishments. But anyways, let me go finish putting this together. Now that I've showed you how to put it together, I'm going to go put my embellishments in there, and I'll be right back. And here is my card finished, and to decorate it, I used adhesive foam tape to adhere the die cut images that you see in there, give them a little dimension. And I also used the adhesive foam tape to put the Happy Spring on there and added a couple of pretty pink gems. And on the sides here, I added some ribbon and a bow up here. And I wanted to show you that if you lay it flat like this to mail it, this is A2 size, so it will fit in an envelope that you would normally use for an A2 size card. Or if you wanted, let me see if I could get this done here. You can fold those ends in, tuck them in like so, and you can mail the card like that. Either way, it's going to pop out and create a really nice shadow box card. And if you wanted, you could even add another layer in here, but that is for another video. Okay, and as I promised, now I'm going to show you how to make that same card, only layered. And so you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 5.5 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And just like before, we are going to score that at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And I'd already started scoring this one. My finger got in the way. The line went over. It's not going to matter. This is going to be covered up. But I am going to turn it around, and I'm going to score it again and try to keep my fingers out of the way this time at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So quickly here, we're going to go 1/2 inch and 1 inch and 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then this is where it changes up. Your pattern paper. It is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So I took 1/4 inch off on each side. And we're not going to score it the exact same way. So now instead of 1/2 inch, we're going to go 1 line over to be the line right here between 1/4 and 1/2. So that is 3/8. So we're going to score this at 3/8. And the next one, instead of 1 inch, will be 7/8. And we're going to score it right there. Turn it around, and again, 3/8 of an inch and 7/8 of an inch. And that is because this outer piece right here needs to be a little bit shorter. But just like before, everything is going to get folded the exact same way. And so I'm going to finish folding everything off camera, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so as you can see, there is going to be a border all the way around this. But you're going, how in the world are we cutting the aperture? That is a little tricky, but yet not so tricky. So I'm going to bring my die cutter over here and show you. Okay, pay close attention. I have 2 dies, okay? They're nesting dies, so one of them is bigger than the other, okay? It's really important. Use the larger die on here, okay? We're going to save the smaller one to go on the next layer. So really important. And as you can see, I'm not using a round one this time. I'm really, trying to show you that you can use different things. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut that. I'm going to get it nice and centered, and I'll be back. Okay, I've cut that out. I'm going to save this pretty piece to use for something else. And we now have that cut out. And now you're going to think I'm really weird, but we are going to glue this right on there, okay? And we're going to do that before we die cut the next part. So I'm going to go glue this on there, and keep in mind when you're gluing it on that you're gluing it on everywhere, okay? So this isn't going to be like where you keep just the edges and then that's loose. We're gluing the whole thing down. I was going to do this all off camera, but I don't really think you can see that. I wanted to make sure that you know to get the glue all around the opening. You don't want that to be loose, okay? And then we're just going to sit it on here and make a mess, but get it all lined up just right. So a nice thing about using my beacon is I have wiggle room, so I can slide things around and get them right where I want them. But there we go. Now we have that really nice border all the way around, okay? Make sure that everything is glued down completely before we go on to the next step. And for the next step, this is what we're going to do. Now that that's done, we're going to take the smaller one. So remember, there was, let me see if I can get it here so you can see it. There is the larger one. We're using the smaller one this time, okay? And we're going to line that right up in the center. And again, just because of my hand and trying to work everything together at the same time, I am going to do this off camera, but I just wanted you to see that that's going to be lined up right there in the center. And if you were worried that it's cutting through 2 layers, it's not. It was just cutting through that 1 layer of cardstock. So as you can see, it came out beautifully. And now, when you put it together, so bend our pieces again, they just got all flattened out going through the die cutting machine. So get them all folded back into place. Once it goes on there, you now have a border all the way around the circle, around the outer edge. And that way, if your scrapbook paper was a little flimsy, this way it all comes out nice and sturdy. For this one, I'm going to be stamping a sentiment. And so what I've done is I put my stamp in there and lined it up right where I wanted it. And then I'm just going to be taking out this white insert, and I'm going to be stamping right on there, and it'll be right where I want it. And here is that second card, and I think it is just absolutely adorable. I love this image that I stamped and actually fussy cut around and colored with my Spectrum Noir markers. And if you're wondering why I'm not sharing what stamp sets and stamp and die sets that I'm using, it's because they are old sets from close to my heart that no longer exist. But I'm using stuff from my stash, and I suggest you do the same thing because I know we all have stuff that we've had for years. But I just love the way that this turned out and the pretty little butterfly right up there. And I could have added more to this. I could have added ribbons and bows along the side like I did this one, or some of the gems. But I kept this one more kind of sweet and simple. And so those are just a couple of ideas on how you can use this particular card fold. It is really simple, and I know that you will come up with so many ideas that you can do with this. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope that I made it easy enough for you to follow. This video was just about the card fold and not about how to decorate it, because that part I'm leaving up to you. But here are a couple of cards that I made several years ago, and I thought I would share them right now just to give you some more ideas on decorating them. All of the cards I made are pretty simple, but you can actually load them up with embellishments if you like. And if you make some cards, I would love for you to share them in my Crafters Castle Facebook group. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.